guys?
Sorry.
Item 4, the sensor buoy thing.
I don't have any information.
You don't, oh, alright, well, I made the call. You guys, I thought you guys would remember.
No.
Alright, I made the call, the buoys are about 13 grand a pop with an annual subscription. Would take a lot of money, I think there's more cost effective ways to do this monitoring, including the way we're doing it now, but there are probes that we could have volunteer monitors that get almost the same information, but it would be points in time as opposed to continuous information. They cost a lot less money.
Okay.
So I will have more information about those at our next meeting. We return to, public comment. You were not present during public comment. I'm more than willing to have you, offer to say whatever you want. I think, from the board's perspective, or I think most of us came down in this direction. There have been a number of, violations around the lake. This is certainly not meant to single you out in any way, shape, or form. These are sort of once in a lifetime projects, and I kind of think a couple of riparian rights owners have contractors who thought the contractors were getting permits, and I think the takeaway from this, if I can offer any takeaway whatsoever, is maybe the district can put out a communication that is directed to, basically calling Baron Schwanke. And when did I get his name wrong?
Okay.
Was-
Oh, yeah. It wasn't pronounced right, but no big deal.
If we are turning a shovel in the dirt, if we are cutting a tree down, and maybe we can help our riparian rights owners, just avoid it. But I would entertain a motion to reopen public comment for
You don't-
Mr. Siegel.
You don't need to actually, Chairman, you can just call item 3 on the new business, and you can just recognize Mr. Siegel.
Can I call item 3 and recommend Mr. Siegel for whatever Mr. Siegel wants to say?
So you can just read item 3 or
Sorry.
maybe we should discuss item 3.
Feel like it
Mr.
is.
Siegel actually has to respond.
Oh, yeah, we could discuss it now, how you respond.
Yeah.
Any further discussion?
No, so Pat just kind of recapped the discussion we had before we got here. So, but, just so we're clear, we're on new business, item 3, issues related to N8778 Wilmer Point Lane. I know of no pending action on this item.
I don't know if any action on this item, so if no one objects, and if Mr. Siegel would be willing to be recognized in this.
Okay. What was his name?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay. So, I'll come over here. So there's a lot of things that I learned in life by making a lot of mistakes, and not necessarily maliciously, but when I learn them, I tend to get obsessive, and I start to learn more about what I didn't know. And it's not just so that I can, make amendments and do whatever the minimum is to fix something. It's also to turn around and go, hey, you know what I learned? Now I learned that I need to make sure that when I see my neighbors doing something wrong, that I can jump in there and go, hey, I'm a great coach. Just ask any of the kids that hate me. But if there's something else that I see because of what I'm learning, and this goes way beyond what we just did with the landscaping in the back of our property with a bunch of boulders. it's, you know, now I'm running into, so I'm an engineer, and I built steel towers, right? The one thing I can say is trying to find a geotechnical engineer with a PE stamp in the state of Wisconsin is not easy, okay? In fact, what I've been working with is, I have one of those in North Carolina that works for me, but he doesn't have a stamp here. So I've been learning how to do all of these force calculations, so I was like, hey man, my wall's over 4 feet high, we need some engineering on it. Great, I got no one around here, locally. Now I'm talking to somebody in Brookfield, but that was gonna help me with this. And now what I'm learning is, there's a ton of property out here with knee walls, retaining walls, gravity walls, which sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're not. And they go anywhere from boulder to brick. By the time I'm done doing all these calculations, which most of them, I'm feeling okay about the factor of safety in what the contractor did at our house. But I can tell you that I know a whole lot more about all of the different soils and gravel and bases that they're putting in, that we use, even if it's not engineering. My point is like, I intend to publicly, you know, let people know some of the things that I've learned about retaining walls and boulder walls, because there's definitely, I've already told my dad, we hand built his boulder wall. I was like, Dad, you know what? We gotta look at your boulder wall, right? Because, anyway, so my point to all that is, just because I made a mistake doesn't mean that I'm happy to do the minimum to fix it. It's always going to be more, and you will hear more from me about the incident and what I've learned going through it after we're done, to hopefully help other riparian owners and people in this community who are thinking about doing landscape or may have already had landscaping done.
Thanks.
You talked to the Bukowskis yet?
No, but the contractor called me and asked if I could help with their engineering.
There is an engineering firm in Lake Geneva that can handle that.
I don't think so.
All right, can we move then to, landscaping easement matters at PA, this is item 4, PA 181-00003, that's the LDLP equipment storage, PA 181800001, that's, orderly, do a whole discussion possible action.
Sure, to kind of tee up this conversation, so in your packet, is a survey that was provided by the property owner. This is the old Double D property. So this is on the agenda for 2 reasons essentially. First is the property owner reached out. There are some trees, brush, Commissioner Dinick, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, that the adjacent property owner has offered to take down. So we'd be looking for approval, to allow Mr. Dinick to work with the property owner to identify what trees should come down, and make sure that there's proper permitting for that. The second thing is, now that we have survey done, we can kind of see where the proposed structure is gonna be, and then just making sure, we have access to our shed in the back and get equipment in and out. So that's really what this is on here for. There's a matter we'll be talking about in closed session, but that sums up the open session part.
Any questions for council? Or I suppose I have to ask those in closed session, sorry.
You can ask me in open session.
I can ask you in open session. Are there any questions for Ron? While I'm in open session, can I ask, sorry, can I pick any, have you reviewed the amended easement?
I looked at it once, yes.
Okay. Any objections to the amended easement?
motion to authorize, Commissioner Dynick to work with the property owner to identify trees and brush that can be removed. Would be what I'd be looking for.
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries, thank you very much. Can we get to item 5, the joint boat patrol agreement with the town of East Troy, discussion and possible action? Ron, can I again look to you to give us a synopsis of your expectations of what a union agreement looks like?
Oh, certainly. So, in your packet, what I shared with you prior to the meeting, this is a joint boat patrol agreement that was, offered to me by Attorney Mills, who's the attorney for the town. I did not take part in drafting any of this, so this is his language. You know, it's on the agenda for discussion, going through various points as well. So, conceptually, what the town is looking for is basically a written commitment from the district that it's going to be offering $50,000 essentially per year in perpetuity. Now, it can be terminated, that's spelled out in section 2, after all the whereas clauses. But really it's, you know, from a policy standpoint, the town is looking for something in writing. It can be this document, there can be modifications to it, and that's why it's on the agenda for discussion of what we're kind of envisioning this agreement to look like. I probably clean up some of the language or offer some friendly revisions to Attorney Mills in terms of termination and, you know, if the town makes a change, can we then pull back the money, that type of thing. But, you know, conceptually it's there, $50,000 per year, they're gonna hire another officer. They are saying that officer would have 17 dedicated weeks, to boat service. I think it needs to be a little clear that it's on this lake. The officer would have other duties too, so let's just be clear about that. This is not full-time officer just for the lake and just only our lake. It does note that the cost of a full-time officer is more than $50,000. They also make mention that there'd be community service officers, so that's CSO you see in the agreement, that would attend with this new officer. Easiest way to think of it, for 17 weeks during the boating season, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, could be other days as well, you're gonna get, boat patrol on the lake. What, on a lake. What, hours of operation, you know, the town rightfully so is gonna maintain a lot of control over that, just through the police department, but this is that step in that direction.
I guess one, I'm sorry.
I make a motion to approve and have Ron clean it up and bring it back.
They're looking for Pat to sign by the 18th. I don't know why you signed by the 18th.
Probably because they're budget.
Budget, yeah, I mean, that's essentially, but 18th is also the day of the informational meeting, so that isn't odd to me.
How long will it take you to clean it up?
I mean, I can clean up by then, that's not a problem. But I think the 18th isn't arbitrary, I think probably by the time they're for budget.
I would like to add something to it. I think it's important to have benchmarks along the way, and that the town and this organization should meet once a week during the season to analyze what happened the previous week, and then make corrections, or we can give them advice, they can give us advice. But I think we need that, to keep it going and make sure we get the feedback on a weekly basis. There could be a meeting of the two parties for 15 minutes maybe, but we need something like that. 50,000 shouldn't be a blank check, it should be something that we know what we're getting for it, and we can make corrections throughout time. And I think it benefits the town.
And what time period would you want those weekly meetings? May through August?
Yeah, the 17 weeks, I guess.
Okay.
Would you be satisfied with just a written report, usually a rest, this is what?
No, that I don't want. I want whoever's gonna see this, the officers sit down with someone from this
Can I
organization.
get a second on that
Thing.
motion?
What?
Can I get a second on my motion?
Bring it up.
If I made a motion, so make a second or?
second it.
So you're
To approve and clean up.
to approve the cleanup without amendment.
So let's be clear, so what Commissioner Becker recommends is not what I would call cleanup. Cleanup is more just changing some of the wording.
I'm talking about the motion that I originally.
I understand, I just wanna make clear to the board.
Now we can go to discussion.
The, item 2 in the agreement, each party shall participate in this agreement until September 31st, 2026. There is no September 31st.
That was one of the cleanups.
I didn't know how that would work if we signed it. I don't know what that commitment really is.
So let's think of it this way, right? Imagine you didn't have this document, but you had knowledge that you wanted to create a document, right? So we know they wanted 50,000 from us. So that's bullet point number 1. Bullet point number 2 is what would the district want in return? 17 weeks, is that good enough? Do you want 17 weeks? Do you want more? And then, kind of go down that list. That will help me if there's gonna be substantive changes to this agreement.
Is it 17 weeks, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
They say 17 weeks, unidentified time period, 2026 voting season. And they mentioned Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the entirety of his or her 17 weeks. With flexibility of the town police department to change the schedule to cover special lake events or sailing events that might fall on other days of the week.
I think with the warmer falls, then they have an option, maybe have them out there. Even if they're Labor Day once or twice. I don't know.
17 weeks.
It's 4 months.
Yeah, basically, I would presume it'd be May through August.
Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting specify the voting season, is that what you're?
No, I just, the falls will get warmer.
Great.
When I spoke to all these lights, one thing Delvin did is they had full patrol longer. But they've had deaths too.
I think it makes sense to go through sunset.
And I don't know if you can trade off a rain day where they're not needed, move them to later, have them show up on these rain days where they're not needed.
Yeah, right, so conceptually, there's a balancing act of having so many kind of conditions or rules versus having more flexibility, right, it's trust factor too. So friendly recommendation, you could say May 15th through September 15th, for example, if you wanted to go that route. You can say a minimum of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This makes it difficult because I didn't draft this right and we didn't talk about it, so this is that's what I'm saying, just
Yeah.
scrap the idea and let's start fresh.
I mean, they know we authorized the 50,000 budget, if we wanna get this right. On the same note, I'd like them to have the flexibility to offer these services and trust that they'll actually communicate with us.
I think some kind of meeting, as Commissioner Becker recommended, is a good idea, some kind of.
No, community state.
Do you accept that as a friendly amendment?
Well, once a week.
Once a week seems like a lot.
That's too much.
You accept, every other week?
After our meeting,
It's the
every other
police
week.
chief, he can tell us what he's doing once a month. And he's gonna add stuff that they're not doing right.
Whatever, 1 to 2 weeks interval, they can decide what's best then. When they get into it, they just say, yeah, maybe 2 weeks is
So are you
fine.
saying this whole committee meets once?
No, just, you know, two individuals, probably, one from our organization, one from the police force, that's all.
Yeah, so you're chair, you can meet.
I like the idea of doing it on the startup, so we can synchronize with each other. Get a report going.
Would it be possible for them to
But
present it to
the biggest
everybody?
fear of us giving the money to the police chief is that he didn't wanna be controlled by this money. He needs to do his job. We hired him to do a job, and we're not here to dictate what he does. I mean, that was stated, were you at that meeting? I don't know if you were at that one with me or not.
All of meetings, sir. This is just, you know, compare notes and see what's.
That's not the way it goes, though.
You get feedback from the public,
Well, feedback I'm okay with. Feedback I'm okay with.
that's what it is. In fact, that's the reason the whole thing started, was feedback from the public. We didn't get enough police protection.
I'm telling you,
That
his
was
biggest
feedback from the public.
fear is he doesn't wanna be told what to do. He's the chief, he knows.
Yeah, but what about accountability? Isn't he,
I think his resume has accountability. I think he knows what to do.
Well,
He's been in late.
they can decide, it'll work out then.
Well, maybe, but we have property owners' names on the agenda that we never had before. I don't trust, when I leave this committee, we need to let the police chief do his job. He can come here and report. I have no problem with that. It's not the way this committee works, John.
He can do, right, he can do his job, and that's what we're encouraging. But it's nice to compare notes between the two organizations. Since we are close to the feedback of the lake people, and he's closer to.
I'm fine with reporting.
What?
I'm fine if the police chief or somebody reports, or whoever it's not even a police chief, he's got somebody who does the enforcement.
Deputy Runge.
Or
Deputy, that's right.
I'm fine with that. I don't really think it should just be on our meetings.
I don't wanna make it come to the meeting.
No,
If he wants to, it's fine, it's great, right? But he doesn't need to come over. He
But
could
it
provide-
should be in front of all the commissioners and the public.
So I would say this, right, you're writing a rather large check. And you're writing it with potentially no oversight, it's going to a different organization for which you have zero control. I think an idea that a representative of the board meets with somebody from the police department for just a report check-in is not too out of line. For just reporting purposes and understanding how it's operationally working. And that individual could then report back to the board at our monthly meetings. So, I'm not saying that has to be that way, but that, in my experience, for what it's worth, is not that out of line for the amount of money that we're sending over there.
Well, then you might as well have a liaison, do it right
Yeah,
here.
that's what I was gonna say, we're gonna be a once a month thing, it's not gonna be on a weekly basis.
That sounded like a friendly amendment, so,
That's it.
but
Yes, friendly amendment.
that sounds like a friendly amendment to his motion. So, are you willing to accept that?
What are we gonna do?
Then I will report back, and
Yes.
that's what I would be doing anyways.
Perfect.
And I also will be able to take that as a second and friendly amendment.
Second friendly amendment.
All right. Is there further discussion? Hearing none,
Any other changes to this document?
we gotta change that date.
We change the date, I'll clean some other
You're
stuff
gonna
up.
clean it up. right?
Yeah, but I don't clean up substantive things, so like, if you're looking for something more, now's the time, right? Because once the agreement's signed, it's signed, we can modify
So
it.
what happens if we have 4 weeks of Saturday, Sunday, and rain?
I think that's a fair point, so let's talk about that, what is the board looking for then?
Well, because that same guy is hired to do squad, right? So you go film for a guy in a wedding and run the squad. I don't know how you word it though, that we can, this board's discretion to, you know, or add it on at the end, since September, it seems like it's a lot warmer. And I don't know how to do it.
Or something like active, like they're active
Target
patrolling
50
days.
days of
Yeah,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
patrolling on the lake.
Yeah, right, so there's lots of different ways to draft this, right, so it can be those days, and if it's not those days, it can be a substitute day.
there should be a certain amount of actively patrolling.
Okay, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for 17 weeks is 68 days. So our target is 68 days.
And then take out the rain days then? Did they make them up somewhere else, or?
Right.
That's, I have two amendments so far, so we'll go through the list, then we'll amend the motion.
Okay.
Do we wanna change the 17 weeks to a defined time period? Or do you wanna leave it at 17 weeks, voting season, ambiguous?
I like voting season because the voting season has been repeatedly stated, it seems to be going later.
About target 68 days during the voting season.
Just thinking out loud here, do we wanna address anything like a July 3rd falls on a Tuesday? Obviously, I hope they'd be out there anyway, but like, should I put something in there that says that, you know, plus any other holidays where there'd be, you know, great vote activity?
Yeah, so like, for example, Memorial Day, July 4th, Labor Day.
Well, this year was a perfect example, right, it was July 4th to the 5th.
So Tuesday,
July 3rd and Labor Day are the
Thursday.
then Memorial Day, Labor Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day from the fireworks.
The 3rd.
If not on the 4th of July.
Okay, and we're gonna target 68 days plus, you know, late holidays, I'll call
I even think 68 days inclusive of the holidays, just to get some.
them. This is our ask. You can ask.
Master.
Okay, anything else?
Anything else?
You live here too, you got any suggestions?
I don't know, I'm like,
We had a motion, can you recite the friendly amendments to the motion?
sure, so motion to approve with, council cleaning up formatting and other just clarification changes with two substantive amendments. First amendment is that the representative from the police department would meet on at least a monthly basis with the town of East Troy board representative for status reports and update of, performance under this agreement. And that instead of kind of the 17 weeks, or it would say 17 weeks, you know, targeting 68 days plus the 4 late holidays.
What is the representative meet with? You said,
So, representative from the police department would meet with our town of East Troy representative, in this case, Mr. Jones right now, on at least a monthly basis for reporting and
Management.
feedback, yeah.
okay.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Discussion, I'm closing discussion. Can we start with that? All in favor?
I,
Aye.